Welcome to Repertoire Wednesday with my dad, Dr. Joe Tranquilla.
Thanks, Everett. Today we're going to take a look at Shall I Compare Thee by Leora Joy Perrie. And I'm joined by my good friend and CCC Artistic Director, Julia Davids, to discuss the music. Thanks for hanging out with me today, Julia. It's summertime, and this is the perfect selection for a lovely summer day. What is it about this song that sounds like summertime to you?
Yeah, I think there are a number of things you can lean into as a singer in this piece, but yeah, the goal is to feel warm, is to feel unhurried and relaxed, all of the things I think we associate with summer. And Leora sets it up beautifully for us with these sort of jazzy, sustained chords with added dissonances, where as singers we can decide what quality of sound we want to use there. And if we use a slightly breathy quality of sound, it can give us that hazy sort of spread feel. And then we've got these easy melodic lines that are fairly predictable in terms of rhythm, but never hurried. And that all sets up to give us this really beautiful sonic picture of summer.
The text of the piece, of course, comes from Shakespeare's Sonnet 18, probably one of the Bard's best-known passages, not from one of his plays. And there are lots of choral settings of this particular text. So what sets it apart? Can you break it down for us a little bit? And what different components does Leora incorporate in this setting?
Yeah, I think some other settings have tried to make this more of a period piece or feel like it's looking back to a certain period of music history. Whereas this setting, I think, really beautifully builds upon all our periods. There are definitely places where Leora uses a more contrapuntal approach, where we have sections that are layered in a polyphonic texture. But then there are a lot of these block textures, as I mentioned, that have some added dissonances that feel very contemporary. And yet she's also captured the sense of drama that I think Shakespeare would really enjoy. But it's more like a musical theater piece in some places as well. And then in the middle section, we have the tenors and basses in a non-measured approach. So that's very much referring to chant, which of course is going much earlier than Shakespeare's time. So I think it's a delightful fusion, a beautiful organization where we have motivic material at the beginning that comes back at the end, as well as wonderful use of texture and compositional devices from many different periods.
Yeah, and it's always struck me that this piece in particular reminds me of a Stephen Sondheim song, the title song from Sunday in the Park with George. On the last page, in particular, when the soprano one's "Shall I Compare Thee," one of the last statements, and just with the key and with the setup in the accompaniment figure, it sounds very much like Leora might have had that in mind. I know she has a musical theater background. But the chant section in the middle that the tenors and basses sing is also quite delightful. And it's also romantic. Like it's free, it really feels very personal. And that's a really effective way of incorporating chant as well. And I think it works, like the way that it's bridged with the different sections on either side, it really does work well. I first encountered this piece when the composer, Leora, and I sang with the CCC together in 2007. It happened to be my very first tour with the CCC. At one of our rehearsals that week, Leora passed out copies of Shall I Compare Thee, and we read it through. Several years later, it made its way onto our program entitled Seasons of Life and Landscape. And it's featured on the CCC album by the same name, which you can check out at www.canadianchamberchoir.ca by clicking on the tab Media. So let's maybe just pick out a favorite moment from this piece. Of all those elements that you referenced, Julia, what's a favorite moment?
It's hard to find a favorite moment, because I really love the whole piece, my favorite moment is just how this piece makes you feel. But I think working with the Canadian Chamber Choir in particular, and for quite advanced ensembles, there are a lot of vocal challenges in this piece. The unison passages when the tenors and basses are singing together, to tune those, to move those together. But my favorite spot when it works really well is at the very end, when we have this beautiful layered texture, the block chords and the tenors and basses being sustained, and then these "shall I compare thee" that go out to these big open chords. They're difficult to navigate and they're difficult to time so that they land exactly together. But if your vowels are just right and your singers are really together, it creates this incredible shimmer, and it's just magical.
This piece is published by Cypress Choral Music, and it's part of the Canadian Chamber Choir series for accomplished choirs. For details on how to order this music and to check out more great repertoire, be sure to visit cypresschoral.com. The CCC Series is one of several great collections curated by outstanding Canadian choral conductors. Huge thanks to Julia for joining me today. That's all for now. See you next Wednesday for more great Canadian repertoire and our final edition of Repertoire Wednesday.
Like, if you're going to go 5 minutes on the internet, got to be engaging.